Yes, it's not a choice that most of us make. Not a lot of people just choose to have babies in their 40s. Some are because of career choices, some is because of we've been misled, some is because they've been trying for so many years and they haven't been able to have a baby. And some really is because they never thought about having a baby. Yes, it sounds off, but it's true. Some people don't think about having kids. And the moment they start thinking about it, they realize, oh, I'm 40 years old or I'm 45 years old. And all of a sudden, I want a baby and I can't have one, or I'm worried about all these other things that um, some realistically we should be worried about. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Dr. G. I'm a holistic health coach. I am here to share a few concerns and hopefully offer some guidance from my own experience as to choosing to have babies late in life. When I was in my 20s, I had a partner who wanted to settle down, have babies, start a family, and I didn't feel like I was ready. I didn't feel like I remember telling him, I'll be happy to marry you, but you have to let me go to pharmacy school first. When I graduate pharmacy school, I will be happy to be your wife. And he says, nope, deuces. That's what he said without saying. Because a couple of months later, we broke up. Within 9 months of breaking up, he met somebody else, got married. Before I got married, he already had 4 kids. So he moved on quickly. We had dated maybe, I would say, 4 years at this point. So I couldn't blame him because he wanted to start a family. He was in his 30s. He was 7, 8 years older than me. And so he felt like it was time to settle down. And I had a different mindset. Remember, I've shared this on my channel. I had a different mindset from the mindset I have today. So the person I was in my 20s is not the person I am today. And so if you happen to, by chance, be in your 20s and you're listening to any of my content, don't worry about it. Because the same concerns you have in your 20s, you're still going to have them in your 40s. But this is the kicker with my story, right? I didn't want to get married because I wanted to have a career. I wanted to build my career first. But guess what? When I had the babies, I put my career on pause so I can raise the kids. What's the irony in that? If I had known back then that I wasn't going to be pursuing the career anyway, I probably would have said, okay, get married, have babies, and then push for that career. But in my head, I'm like, if I have kids, that's going to be the end of me. And in truth, that was my mother's story, right? She wanted to go to school, to have a life, to have a career, but she got married so young, and she always had that little bit of regret in the back of her mind that says, if I hadn't got married and had kids so young, I probably would have done so much more with myself. And that's also a misconception, right? Because you raised 4 amazing kids, but somewhere in the back of your mind, you feel like you were a failure because you don't have a career. But women, I'm sorry, women should not be judged based on their careers. And I'm saying this as a career woman. I did go and get the career. And I realized it's vanity, that it doesn't fulfill you, that you could have the big house and you can make the money and you can travel the world. And I did those things. I've been to every continent. I've been to so many countries, over 40 of them. I have engaged with so many cultures. So I've traveled. But it's not as fulfilling as watching your kids practically burn the house down because they're doing experiments. And yes, you scream at the top of your lungs sometimes because normal language doesn't seem to register, So, working on the whole concept of gentle parenting as an African mom, pray for me, y'all, because I'm not quite there yet. I'm working on it. I'm not the person I was, but I'm not the person that I want to be. It's a work in process. Okay, it's a work in progress, they say. But this is a process for me. I'm working on myself. Anyway, let's get to today's business. The goal today is to talk about some of the concerns with having babies late. First and foremost, obviously, it's the issue with fertility. So, a lot of women are concerned about, am I even going to be able to conceive if I'm trying to have a baby in my 30s, in my 40s? These days, women are on fertility treatment in their 20s, in their 30s. This is unprecedented, right? Um, no one could have imagined. My grandmother was having kids the same time my mother was having children, and she was in her 40s, still having children with no issues. Granted, she started having kids probably in her early 20s because she had 12 of them, but she was still having kids in her 40s, and it wasn't anything anyone even looked at twice. Women were having kids. Like, I remember when I was young and watching this news about this lady in her 60s that had a baby in Nigeria. And of course, it made the news because she was in her 60s. But it wasn't through any kind of fertility treatment. Naturally got pregnant in her 60s and had a baby. So we live in this new world that says, oh no, you can't have a baby. You have to have all these treatments to be able to have a baby in your 40s or in your 30s. And that's not always the case. But yes, it's a true concern. It's a real concern. If you do want to have kids and you're aware of it, or you're listening to me and you're not in your 40s, I would say do it now. I'll say do it now. But if you are in your 40s, it's not the end of the world. I had all my three babies in, well, my first was at 39, but my two are in my 40s. And they were all natural babies. Like, I did not go through any kind of fertility treatment. I did have to make some changes. So that's the most important thing. If you're concerned about your fertility, if you're worried about, am I going to be able to have this baby, then do the needful, do what is necessary. I think a lot of us, we like the good things, but we're not willing to work for them. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. I've been a pharmacist for so many years. I would have family members, I would have clients or patients that would come and say, hey, I'm dealing with this issue, but what can I do? I'll say, for example, let me use the biggest thing that's going on right now, the Wegovy um, movement. Okay. 9 out of 10 of the customers that are choosing to just take a pill are not really people that are willing to do the work. I'm not saying some of them haven't tried to do it naturally. They have. We have a lot of hormonal issues that make people hold on to weight, makes it difficult for them to lose weight. I'm completely aware of it. There are so many factors that impacts our weight. But 9 out of 10 patients, I'm telling you, will be so upset when they go to their doctor and he says, go and drink some water and get some rest. Why wouldn't he give me a prescription? I needed some antibiotics. I have a cold. I've been battling a cold. If you've been watching my video, I've committed to myself that I'm going to post a video every day. So I had a cold a couple of days ago. I was still making my video, and I am very aware that maybe all I need is to just go ahead, give myself some hydration, drink some tea, get some rest, you know, have some elderberry, get some vitamin C, just the basic things. Because I know that this is a viral infection and the antibiotic is not going to work for me. It's just going to further destroy my immune system and get me resistant. It's not helping me. But a lot of patients wouldn't want to hear that. So that's just the basic thing I'm saying. Sometimes we're not willing to do the work. If you want to birth naturally, I had left a video a couple of videos ago that talked about the things I did. And you have to prepare ahead, like give yourself a year, 2 years, 3 years. Be willing to give yourself time and do the work. Like, don't think, okay, you're not 21. I'm sorry, sis. You're not. You can't say, I want a baby, and then you tried for month one, month two, month three, and then give up and tell yourself it's not happening. Or 6 months and you give up. What you do is you go back to the drawing board and say, what do I need to do? What do I need to adjust? When I realized I'm not getting pregnant, year 1, 2, 3, 4 in marriage, I said, okay, there's got to be something I need to do. So I started digging through the research. What can you do to help yourself? And mind you, I didn't know I had fibroids at this point anyway. But I knew that I needed to improve my health. And I've always been somebody that works out. I've always been somebody that ate healthy. But no, I've had these things for years. And my foods was really not the healthiest. So I had to change my diet. I went vegan because, man, all of these issues I was having when I changed my diet, most of it went away. So I had a lot of bleeding. I had a lot of cramping. I've never had an on crampy period, if that's a word, until I stopped eating all of the foods I used to eat. So that's the first thing. Changing your diet can play a huge role in improving your fertility. I talked about my raw vegan diet really helping me. Um, but I'm not here to tell you what diet. If you choose to do keto, whatever you need to do, if that works for you, I'm not here to tell you it shouldn't work. But all I can tell you is if you're not pregnant today, there's something you have to adjust to help make it possible. And worst case scenario, I'm not anti fertility treatments. If you have to go down that route, please do what you need to do to get you prepared for or to get you pregnant if that's what you truly want. Because here we're not talking about everybody needs to have a child. I would wish that most women would want a child because I didn't know what having a child did to me or would have done for me until I had a child, right? So it completely changed my brain chemistry, I feel like. So there you have it. Like in my mind, I think every woman should do it because it's going to help her discover another side of her. But that's just me thinking from this selfish point because I never wanted to. And then I did it and I saw how it made me feel. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like when you discovered a new recipe for, uh, I don't know, for curing cancer, for example. Like you discovered it, you used it, and now you're free. And then what's the first thing that come to your mind? Like you want to go out and get on the mountaintop and scream it to the whole entire world because you want everybody else to go try that recipe. That's how it feels like when you make a change and you see the result, and when you make this effort and you see the result, then in your head you feel like you should go out and tell everybody. But it makes you an enemy of the world. So don't do that. Second concern is energy. Can I handle this? I'll be too tired. I'm in my 40s. I'm already exhausted. I'm probably almost hitting perimenopause. It's like you're going through menopause and fertility at the same time. Funny, right? But I think this is when lifestyle change comes in again. because I'm into holistic treatments, you're going to get tired of me repeatedly saying this every day. I'm here, day in, day out, right? Lifestyle changes, lifestyle, because that's the biggest thing. If you have low energy, think about vitamins, iron, especially when you have fibroids. Like, you're going to notice you have low iron levels because you tend to have anemia. And so you do have low energy or stamina. Just make some adjustments, increase your activity level, take some supplements if you need to, and rest when you can, you know. And maybe if you're trying to conceive or if you have a baby, then make some adjustments in terms of your work hours if you can. I know not everybody can do that. I left my career for being more available. Doesn't mean I don't do anything right now. I still have to support my family because sometimes, your spouse alone can't do it in this economy. And I understand that. So we have to be supportive partners, but we don't have to be equally like this idea of you pay the rent and then I'm going to pay the grocery kind of thing. No, include and help out where you can, So if it means he has to work harder and then you can only work part time because the responsibilities of the family is higher, then that's something that the family should discuss. But I don't think that as women, as mothers, we should be competing in the workforce, like trying to be the top at our workplace just at the detriment of our families. That's my opinion. Yet again, I don't think that that's what we should be focused on. Once your kids are at a certain stage and they can, I say, I want my kids to be able to come back and tell me who did what, who said what, who touched what. And if they're not old enough to be able to do that, I'm not comfortable letting anybody else take care of them. I'm just not. I'm not. So, stamina is another thing. And work life balance. I've talked about work life balance in when I was addressing the issue of energy, right? And work life balance is again coming back to, do I need to cut down my job? Do I need to find another job if my job is too stressful? Do I need to find other ways to make money if I can't have my job? Because these days, there are so many ways people are making an income without a traditional workplace experience, right? So if that's what you can do, then that's what you should do. And I see a lot of moms on YouTube who are very inspiring to me saying, hey, I do Etsy and it has been able to liberate me. I do Amazon, I do YouTube. Like, people are coming up with ways to support their families without really needing to go to a typical 9 to 5. Things they can do from their from their homes, excuse me. And so that might be something to consider. Is there something you can do from your home that would liberate you to an extent where you can be available more than if you had to get up and get dressed and go to work for 8-10 hours? I used to work 12-hour shifts and I would be devastated because by the time I got home, my son is already sleeping and I felt like a loser. Yes, I was contributing. I was more so the breadwinner, really, if I would be honest, but that wasn't fulfilling for me. Yes, I have money to pay the bills, but I would rather not. So I left my career because I said I would rather take something that doesn't pay me as much, manage my own business, and be able to be available for my kids. And so I left my job when I had my second child. That's when I decided to take a pause in pharmacy and just do what I've been passionate about doing, which is running a food business. I love food, I love travel, I love culture, I love people. So I felt like it was just the perfect thing for me to do outside of me being in a pharmacy for 12 hours, for 10 hours, coming home exhausted. I don't have the energy to talk to anybody. I don't want to see my child because I'm too tired. And then first thing in the morning, I'm getting ready, I'm out again. And I mean, my kid didn't even want to be around me because all he knew was daddy and whoever else. Like, I didn't exist, you know? And I remember listening to uh one of these celebrities, I forgot her name. I don't know. It just escaped me. But she was talking about how her son would call her dad, and that would just break her heart. And that's how I started feeling. I'm like, I don't want my son to not know me. I'm the mom. Like, the mom, there's something, there's power, there's a spiritual connection that mothers have to children. I cannot be unavailable to my child. So I had to make myself accessible so that I can be here and be impactful and add values that I believe in into my children. What else are we concerned about with having children in our late age? It is the idea of finances. Someone asked me this today, in fact. Um, there are so many people choosing not to have kids because kids are so expensive. You know, there are so many people that choose not to eat healthy because healthy food is so expensive. Have you ever thought about what the doctor's visits and the prescriptions are going to cost you and the medical procedures when you choose not to eat healthy? Like, what is more expensive in the long run? First of all, your quality of life sucks, right? Because you're in and out of the doctor's office. You have 3 visits every week. You have surgery. You have this replacement and that replacement. That's one part. And all of those cost thousands of dollars. So your quality of life is poor. The money you're spending, one of the things that gets me with this, I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox. One of the things that gets me every time is, so you're going to work so hard and maltreat your body, because that's like self abuse, right? You maltreat your body for 40, 50 years. And all the money you work so hard for, now you have to take it and hand it to the doctor because you want them to let you or help you just live a couple more years longer. So by the time you're out of here, everything you work so hard for is not legacy, it's not passed down to your children. It's gone because you handed it to the doctors before you left. Make that make sense. How does that make sense to you? And it's the same thing with kids. I'm sorry. You choose not to have kids, and that's totally fine. Because you're 20, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, and you're still strong and you still have. I see what my kids did to my mom. When you see how much they love their grandma and how much she loves them, I say, oh, okay. This is why you have kids. So that you have a different type of legacy. Legacy is not always financial. It's passing down of genes from one generation to another. And having that fulfillment. I want to be 70 years old and have somebody running into my house and giving me a big hug. I want to be 70 years old and be able to say, look what I have been able to create. Look at all these kids and grandkids. Look at all of them and their spouses. Look how happy they are. And then I can go harass, as an African mom, again, I'll go stay with one child. And then when they're sick of me, I'm going to go stay with another child until they're sick of me. And then I'm going to go stay with another child. I'm not staying in my house by myself. I will not do it. I'm not going to be locked up in some house by myself and end up dead of loneliness and heart attack or heartbreak. And nobody even knew I died. I knew at least 4 people in 2024 that died in their homes, and nobody even knew. It took days for someone to find them. It took days for somebody to find them. That's not the life we want. It is a huge sacrifice. Yes, I am exhausted. Yes, I barely have friends. Nobody invites me to anything anymore because I'm always busy. And or I'm showing up with a package deal. And most people don't really want your kids in their spaces. Let's be honest. I don't know. In this country, in Africa, kids are normal. I don't know what it's like today. I haven't been there recently, so I can't speak for that. But when I was growing up, you find kids everywhere. You go to any party, you go to any wedding, you go to any conference, whatever it is you're doing, there's somebody's child running around. In fact, parents took their kids. Like I used to go to work with my mom all the time. They would take their kids to them to work with them, and it was normal. Normal. Nothing abnormal with you having kids around you. Today, they're annoying. They're just everywhere. They're just little scavengers. That's what we say about children. But it's the same thing we say about the elderly. They're just annoying. We just want to go shove them somewhere in some senior home, and so we can continue to live this life of pretense, this life that looks glamorous and beautiful, but it's not reality. Reality is there's a spectrum. We have infants, we have toddlers, we have children, we have teenagers, we have adults, and then we have the elders. All of us are supposed to thrive, and all of us are supposed to live in the same space. And the children are helping the elderly live longer, and the middle aged are taking care of the families, and everybody is happy. It was normal to see grandparents helping with the kids. So we all living in a community and we're helping each other. When I was growing up, we live in a courtyard, in a compound, they call it back home. You live in a compound. When you're living in a compound, your mom doesn't have to ask anybody, please watch my kids. She just walks out and walks away. She walks out and keeps on going about her business. She could be gone for 3, 4 hours. So long as there's food in the house and you ate, or she knows you know how to find where the food is, she'll go take care of whatever she needs to take care of and come back home. She doesn't even have to bother with taking you with her. But we live in a society where that is not an option. I'm going to get locked up. I can't just leave my kids in the house and hope that my neighbor will notice and take care of them. First of all, how many times do you even talk to the neighbor? You don't even talk to your neighbor. You say, hey, Bob, how are you? And keep walking. Very few people have that communal relationships within this Western society. So it's really tough. And I understand that's why some people don't want to even bother, because where am I going to get childcare? Childcare is so high. But you have to jump and the parachute will appear. That's what I think. Because I used to read those articles that says, you're going to need $1 million to raise a child. I used to read those articles. And I'm thinking now with 3 kids, no. Yeah, if all 3 kids are in daycare, I'll probably be spending $1 million per year to pay for their daycare. These days, they're so expensive. So I have that privilege of not needing to go through daycare. But sometimes I think we can be downsizing. Like you should be willing to downsize your family if you make a choice to have kids. And it should be okay. I'm not taking 5 trips a year like I used to. It's okay. It's just a season. I've done that. And it's the same thing. If you can't afford a huge house, get into a smaller one so that one person can work part-time or one person can be at home, or so you don't have to spend as much in daycare. Whatever you need to do, and stay close to family. Hopefully you all get along and someone can help watch the kids here and there. People are doing it. Or build your own village. You don't have to stay close to your own family. Just create a community where you can say, hey, let me stop in here and let this person watch my kids for an hour when I run out and take care of that other thing. But that should not be our hindrance. When you're ready, God will just poof, make things happen. And then they're going to be 18 years old, 20 years old, and you're going to say, I don't know how I did that. I don't know how I did it. And hopefully you're not going to take all the glory, because the universe is always conspiring in our favor. God is always working things out for us. Before you start the day, God has already gone ahead of you and made all the crooked paths straight. That's what the scripture says, if you believe in that scripture. But whatever faith you believe in, that's the same message. Faith. Just have faith. And maybe I'm being unrealistic, but I am a testament. This is my testimony. I didn't think I could do it. 3 children. If someone had asked me to do this, I would have thought they were my enemies. Like, why would you set me up for this? But here I am, still standing. I'm in a few grades, but I'm still standing. It's okay. It's okay. I'm about to be 45, so it's okay if I have a couple of grays. You have to work on your mindset. Everything that we worry about is just built on fear. All our choices that are hindrance, that are blocking us, that are stopping us from moving forward, is fear. But fear, what did we learn? False evidence appearing real. Fear, 90% of those things you're afraid of never happen, right? And then the other 10% that do happen, you overcame them. Somehow, you're still standing on the other side. What does that tell us? We just have to be emotionally prepared. Like, don't have fantasies about this whole thing. I'm very realistic, but I'm also one that is too optimistic sometimes. I always tell myself it's going to work its way out. It's going to work out. Everything will be fine. And I have fantasies in my head. I get that. But I'm also not that person that got into marriage thinking, this is going to be a cakewalk. We love each other. Nope. I told myself, marriage is going to be tough. Are you ready for this? And it's the same thing I said about kids. I had momentary, I'm not going to lie. I remember we went on a Europe tour with my husband when I found out for sure that I was pregnant. Like, I was already suspecting that I was pregnant when we took a cruise with my parents. We took a cruise with my parents, and all I wanted to do was sleep on that cruise. Like, I didn't want to do nothing, just sleep. So I'm like, something is not right. I was so bloated. I just wanted to sleep. But I've never been pregnant, so I didn't even know what that is. I didn't know that was a pregnancy symptom. And then we traveled to Europe after that. So we went on a cruise in April. And then in May or June, we took a tour to Europe. And I remember thinking, when I was in Portugal, when I found out I was pregnant, I cried. So I'm not here trying to tell you that I was just so exhilarated. Is that the word? Yeah. I wasn't. I mourned for my freedom. I spent a day, I remember just laying there, and I told my husband, I said, things are never going to be the same. Everything is about to change. He's like, no, nothing is going to change. I'm like, boy, who are you killing? I'm like, who are you kidding? everything is about to change. So it's mental and emotional readiness. Like I knew I wanted a child. I've been doing the work to have that child. But when that reality hits, I still had that moment where I was like, we can't just pack up and go anytime. I can't just maintain my job. And, you can't just maintain your job. Things are not going to be the way we've always had them. Things are about to shift. So when you're having a baby later in life, be prepared that things are going to shift, especially when we're older. We're used to, we're set in our ways. We do this, you see this, whatever it is you like, you pay for it. Wherever you want to go, you up and go. You can't have that. But this is what I've learned in life. You can have it all, just not at the same time. That, when I heard that, that was my moment of awakening. Truly. Because when I first had my child, I had that moment where I felt like the rug was pulled from under my feet. The woman I knew is disappearing right before my eyes. Everything I knew. And then I became resentful of my husband. I'm like, his life is still the same. He's still coming and going, you know. And that's a lie, by the way. When men become dads, their lives change too. Their emotional state changes too. But me, from my own angle, from my self-centered space, because I'm dealing with my postpartum feelings and whatever else I was coping with at that moment, I felt like I was the only person that just got bamboozled. So every time he leaves the house, I get pissed. I'm mad. For no reason. Like, I don't know. I wanted him to just sit there with me. I don't know. Just watch me breastfeeding. I don't know what I wanted him to do. But the man couldn't just live his life anymore because I just felt like I just lost mine and he still has his. You are going to have those moments where you have to adjust your thoughts, your feelings, your mindset, your emotion, your drive, your why. All of that is going to shift. And then you're going to hit the plateau and it's cruise control. And then you're going to watch your kids and you will pinch yourself and say, I can't believe this. This is my child. And you'll find yourself crying tears of joy. Randomly. God, I am so grateful that you have blessed me with healthy, because that's another issue, right? Concern about health issues, Down syndrome, um, autism, what have you. That's a concern. But I remember when we went to the doctor, that's the recommendation, that you do all these amniocentesis tests and, whatever other tests they make you take so that they can determine if your child has some kind of, you know, genetic dysfunction. And I looked at my husband and I said, if we find out that this baby has a problem, are we going to keep the baby or we're going to get rid of it? He said he doesn't believe in getting rid of anything. We're going to keep the baby. I said, okay. No, we're not doing the test. Because what's the point? If I find out that my baby's going to have some kind of disorder, now I'm stressed out throughout the whole pregnancy. I can't relax. I'm worried. I can't function. I can't think straight. Why would I want to subdue myself to that? So I opted out. And I'm not telling you to do the same. I'm saying, where is your mind and what is your desire and what is your thought and where are you trying to get to. Because if you know where you're trying to get to and you're okay with whatever the result is, then I say do your work. If you first, it's the egg needs to be healthy, the sperm needs to be healthy, because it's not just about you taking care of yourself. Your spouse or your partner, your boyfriend, whoever, wherever you're getting this sperm from, has to be healthy as well. It takes two to create a healthy child. So you need to clean up your lifestyle, clean up your diet. If you're into whatever you're into, I'm not here to judge you or tell you what to do or not do with your life. But if you want to have a baby, do some cleaning. Clean the house first so you can be able to have a good, healthy space to raise this child. So if you want to have a clean baby, then clean the cells. It's just that simple. And it takes discipline and commitment. Do the work, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. I have 3 healthy babies. Yes, I had to deal with breech births because of the fibroids, and fibroids do get in the way, but they're not a hindrance. They're not, because I can attest to it. They don't stop you from having that child. They just make it a teeny bit more difficult for you. And go into this with that understanding that fibroids are going to make it a little harder for you to have the baby that you desire. And then do a little extra work. If she's fasting for 60 days, then you need to fast for maybe 120. But whatever you need to do, do it. And you will get to the promised land. I promise you. Don't be so caught up and concerned in with everything that could go wrong. Visualize yourself with your healthy child. Picture your life as a mother. See yourself happy. See yourself living your dream. And God, who answers all prayers, will answer that prayer for you. It is my desire, if it's your desire, that you get to experience motherhood. If you already have a child and you're working on another child, the process is the same. Clean up, get rid of some of these foods, get rid of some of these thoughts, get rid of some of these images, because it matters what you think, it matters what you see, it matters what you eat, it matters what you hear. All the senses are at work every day. So do what you need to do to get your mind right, to get your body right, to get your spirit right. And God will bless you with that which you desire for yourself. Ask, and it is given. You do not have because you do not ask. Once you make the decision that this is what you want, God will make it possible for you. Believe me. I just want to thank you. I'm trying not to make this way too long. But I thank you. If you made it to the end of this video, you are an MVP. Thank you so much. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I trust with you that whatever your heart desires shall come to fruition. We are here to encourage each other, to build each other, to form a community of women that choose to do what they desire for themselves and for their families. Women that are breaking the conventional route and choosing health and healing. If there's anything that you're worried about, even if it has to do with maybe you have a certain health condition and you're worried that it's going to be an issue, the principles are the same. Make some adjustments, change your lifestyle, exercise, eat clean, they all help tremendously in making this possible. And if it's not possible, it's okay. If you cannot have a child, it's not the end of the world. There are so many children that need a mother. You can always get one of them and love them equally. So it's okay if you don't have that child. But do the necessary steps, and at least you can be at peace. I did whatever I could, and it just didn't work out. And that's fine too. Here we give hugs, we give love. You know, there's nothing impossible. But also, there's also so many routes to get to that goal, to that plan, to what you want. And be okay with whichever path you end up on. Be okay. I love you being here. I thank you for being here. If you enjoy and you appreciate any of this content, if you made it to the end of this video, say joy. Just leave me a comment. Tell me that you appreciate what you've learned, or share just something that you learned today, or at least share your thoughts about how you can encourage every other sister that is in here seeking some kind of guidance on the way forward. Please like, subscribe, and share. I thank you. Have a blessed